Boom. And you can see my presentation, yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to all of you watching the replay. And I am so excited to be back with you all tonight. It was about almost 2 months ago when we did our remarkable community town hall and we shared some of the updates that are happening around the community. And tonight we wanted to dig a little bit deeper into what we are going to be doing in the Healing Crusade. So, to start off, I want to just say thank you again to everyone for being a part of this journey over the last year. It feels sometimes hard to believe that we have been doing this for a year, that we've been on our healing journeys together. And I love that I had an opportunity to talk to one of our crusaders for just a couple minutes and just hear some of the moves that they're making personally and professionally. And I'm like, just God is God, and there's so many good things that are happening to us, so much growth that's happening. And it's a great way for us to start off talking about, our welcome to sophomore year. So I love to shout out our community manager, Sis Afi, who came up with a great idea for us to call this sophomore year. And it's so apropos. Every time I think about it, I'm like, you are spot on. Because if you remember anything about being a sophomore, I had the blessing of just watching my eldest go through his sophomore year last year. And it's like, you know enough to be dangerous, but you don't know a whole lot quite yet. Junior year, senior year are like huge, explosive growth and movement. And sophomore year is kind of the mushy middle, right? It's like you're not a freshman anymore. You're like, I don't know about y'all, but I remember being like, whew, because you don't get picked on and everybody's bigger than you and all the kind of, shenanigans and the joke is always on you as the freshman or whatever. And so you really don't know what you don't know. And then in sophomore year, it's kind of like you recognize what you don't know, but you're not maybe necessarily sure all of what to do about it. You've got some ideas. You maybe have learned some things. There maybe is a confidence in your step that you didn't have in year one, but you know that there's still growth ahead. And so I believe that we get to walk into sophomore year together knowing that we have grown, knowing that we've been on our healing journey, and that there's still much more for us to do individually and as a community. So I think this is growth year for us. And if I could get the slide to advance, I like this picture because I'm like, we maybe didn't graduate yet from all 4 years, or we know the Healing Crusade is 3 years, but we're not at the end of the road, but we did survive year one. And I would venture to say that it's more like maybe not quite thriving, but whatever is in the continuum in between. It's like it's been a good year. We had a lot of growth. We had moments, we had tears, we shared ideas. We talked about things that we wanted to be better or different, both in how we live and work in the community here, in how we do it outside in the world, and what we wanted inside our bodies, on the outside of our bodies, and our relationships. We've had the opportunity to go deep on a lot of topics and to talk lightly about a lot of others. And what we know we want to do in this year coming up is to dig even deeper, to find the things that are like pulling the thread that will help us get to the next level of what our healing journey looks like. And that is really what I want to talk to you about tonight. So, congratulations, because I think that we did a great job in navigating year one and growing. And I'm excited about what we are going to do in the year up ahead, but I wanted to just say a moment of congratulations to you. So, I like to do some quirky things every now and then. And my encouragement to you, even those of you watching the replay, is go ahead and stretch your right arm up in the air. Stretch it on up and bend it on back and pat yourself on the back because you deserve that. So, congratulations on surviving year one, thriving through year one, wherever you are in the in between of the continuum. And let's get busy on this next year ahead. So, In sophomore year, I mentioned in the beginning that I see this as a growth year for us. And what I believe is that the lens with which we want to take this year is just like what I described of being a sophomore, where you have the opportunity to have some exposure to things, where, some of the challenges that we did in some of the areas of healing focus were light for us last year. This year will give us an opportunity to go even deeper. One of the things I see for us as an opportunity and growth is how we strengthen and grow the community. And, I'll tell you, if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have probably said the size of the community. And what I know to be true is that the size doesn't matter more to me than the active membership in the community. And I believe that we may or may not share the same opinion on that, and that's okay. But I believe that the space right now is very intimate and it feels very safe. And when I think about what is close to my heart about what I want to build and how I want to support people on their healing journeys, it's always to create spaces of safety where people get to be their true selves, where they get to share, where there is enough room in the room for the voices to come forward, for them to ask their questions. And we have that now. And I think that we can grow bigger and still keep that kind of safety. One of the blessings of growing incrementally is that people have an opportunity to experience the culture that you desire to have before influencing it with what they may be bringing from the outside. And so the more that we grow and strengthen the cultural aspects of what we want in the Healing Crusade, the easier it will be for new members to come in and find a rhythm in what we have created. That doesn't mean that their voices won't help us shape the future, but what it does mean is it will give us an opportunity to ensure that we keep the space feeling safe and we keep the level of connectivity that we desire. The other thing I would say about growth is we really want to meet you all at your point of need. And so in the last year, we have absolutely been led to design content that helped us to look at all of the different areas of our wheel of healing. If you all remember that back from I think it was week 4, week 5, when we did the healing wheel. So we've dabbled in all of those different areas. And I believe that this agenda this year will help us to go even deeper in some of the areas that we feel as a community are most important to us. We want to be at the intersection of information, activation, and inspiration. So if you imagine a street sign with all three of those on it, I think that's the place where we want to find ourselves. We want to be able to provide more and more information to all of you on how to heal, different ways, different aspects of healing, and opportunities for you to learn more about resources that may even be beyond what we do in the community. We want you to feel activated. And I know sometimes that word can have a connotation to it, but what I would encourage you to do is to really think about that activation as what is really stirring you up so that you know that there's something here worth exploring. Today, we shared a newsletter, and many of you probably received the newsletter already. But the article that we included in there is an article that I wrote called Your True Mirror. And what I talk about in the article is the beauty of introspection, the ability to really see yourself. And what I want to really encourage you all to do is to keep on allowing yourself to feel activated so that you can see you, so that you can understand the things that are available to you to explore so that you can do the healing work. Sometimes we see those patterns emerging for us, and we're not sure what to do or what will be the outcome of pulling the thread and seeing what's beneath it. But what we have found is that when we lean in to do the work, to do that introspection and exploration, that we can in fact heal. And the beauty of it is that having the ownership over your own healing journey helps you to know that when the next challenge comes, when the next moment arises that feels similar, you know exactly what to do. So I think that is a really important part of the journey. And then the last piece is the inspiration. We want you to feel inspired to heal and to share your stories of healing. The last piece I would say for us is that, I talked a little bit about building community. And one of the things that's been really eye-opening for us is what's happening in community. So if I backtrack to before the Healing Crusade was born, we think about just the journey of 2020, that year, well, I think is one that in our generations in particular, we will always remember because there were so many shifts that happened. And going through the pandemic, we saw that people were really struggling with needing community and wanting to connect with people in ways that were different. And we spent so much time indoors all the time and on Zoom all of the time that it became our way of being connected. And a lot of online communities grew in that time, including us birthing ours. We're in a moment now where over the last year, even the data that is being shared from organizations like Mighty Networks that do this work have been talking about the ways in which community is shifting, that people desire more in-person experiences and things like that. And I think that it's a blessing for us to consider what's possible here for our community. We're not at a place where we have designated that there are things that we're going to do external. However, we are thinking about the way that we broaden the scope or the reach. The reach is the right word, the reach of our community, so that we are touching more members, we are influencing and inspiring other people to do the healing work with the hopes that, of course, that will create the opportunity for more people to join us on this healing journey. And then I would close this slide and say that your feedback is important to us. And so a part of what we're doing around, getting to know the community is also creating space for you to share your ideas and your thoughts and your feedback. One thing that I can tell you for sure is that I will always want this to be a place where we hear your voice. This is your community. We have the opportunity, the team here represented tonight, have the opportunity to help curate the experience. But truly, the healing journey is one that we all share. And we share it with people that haven't heard of the Healing Crusade yet, who are doing their own healing work external to what we do in here, but still connected because we all share the healing path together. I'm going to talk more about that in another slide. So you may remember that I mentioned our town hall that happened, I think it was on August 19th. And of course, we have been sharing the link to do our survey. I have it up on the screen. If you have not done it yet, please go ahead, click your phone, scan the QR code, and do the survey so that we can include your voice. We're still looking at all the surveys as they come in. But there's some key learnings that we have so far from the survey, and I wanted to just kind of top line what we've learned. So one of the things that came up for us as a part of the survey results is that there is a need for us to really clarify what the event schedule looks like. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, oh, here's one of the ahas. In the way that our community is designed today, we have multiple rooms. We have a place for the command control center where we do all of our general challenges. We have the prestige home, the inner circle, where we have things that are just specific to our prestige community. And so what happens there is that people who are part of Prestige have to have notifications turned on for both. And so I think that there are some ways that we can simplify that. So that is on our agenda as well. Another one is around event reminders. So as it is today, if you subscribe to the calendar, the event calendar, you can download it or upload it, so to speak, into your own calendar. You also can turn on notifications, and the notifications can come through message reminders, as well as through the community app, as well as email reminders. It's pretty easy to turn on the notifications. If you're on the mobile phone, if you look at the menu across the bottom, there is a bell. If you click on the bell and go to the settings wheel in the top right-hand corner, that's where you can turn on your notifications. When you take a look at the list of notifications, there are quite a few. And so what I love about this feature that Mighty Networks has is it's not an opt-in, opt-out, but instead it's opt-in and to what. So you have the opportunity to tailor it to what you need. That said, even though we know that these exist, There still has been quite a bit of conversation around, do we do text notifications? Like, what are some of the other ways that we could remind people about the events that are upcoming? And so we haven't quite gotten to a decision on that. I can tell you the team has a preference of what they'd like to do, but what we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to do is get more voices, and then to create a space if we do move to something like a text messaging, to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to opt in, so that we're honoring the guidelines that are set by the community, which houses ours, Mighty Networks. So more to come on how we move forward in that, but know that it is something that we've heard. It's something that we have also been thinking about, and that we will figure out what the right steps are forward. Access to the community is another thing. And so I'm glad to see that so many people are using the mobile app as a way to leverage the community. It is one of the best and easiest ways to get in and out of the community, to stay up to speed with what's going on, and you have the ease of subscribing to the events calendar inside the app, and then it uploads directly to the calendar in your phone. So it does help you stay connected to the events that are happening in the community. That said, we want to make sure that that when you are on desktop, that you have an ease of getting into the community as well. And there are some things that are a little bit different about utilizing the desktop app than are with the app on your phone. And so one of the things that we're committed to do is put some instruction inside the community on the main Crusade page that will help you have ease of setting up both, so that it's easy for you to navigate whether you are on the go on your laptop or if you're doing it from your phone. Engagement with others was another theme that we heard. So how do we create more connectivity between the members of the community? And this is one that is near and dear to our heart. As I mentioned before on the last slide, part of what we really want to do is to build even stronger community and create spaces and opportunities for you all to share more of your feedback and experiences. And so that's something that you can look out for in the weeks to come, on how we create space for there to be more engagement. One of the things that I think that exists today is that while probably designed for intention, that we created a space for chat that is not quite active. Not because I think it's not quite active because of where it sits in the community. And so one of the options that we have is to rework that. So we create a space where really more activity is happening. I'm giving you probably a little bit of a peek under the tent. But what we have been talking about is really combining what sits in Prestige and in the Crusade Command Center into one space, so that everything is happening in one area, and it makes it so much simpler for you to keep up with. So more to come on that. And then the last thing, I love this, that we've got some great feedback around what content is working. So we know, for example, that recorded content in what we have today scored a bit higher than live content, which is great, because as I talk about what we plan to do for the next few months, and of course continuing to take your feedback on how it goes, is that I think we will provide some more recorded content, which should help navigate the different scheduling conflicts and things like that I know we all deal with here and there. The other thing is around live events, that when we do the live events like Ask Anika Anything and the fireside chats, that those are things that people really look forward to and come in to participate in. So that's certainly something we're excited to hear, and of course want to continue. I love that meditations was one that was highlighted as well. And that's certainly something that I am very passionate about, helping us to grow what we have in our toolbox and to have those resources available. And so great to hear that feedback. And then also an interest on continuing to expose our community to various ways to heal. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that as we go through the next year, especially with the book as it gets ready to come out and hit the shelves, because this is a place where I see us having ongoing and early conversations around the content, what it means, what it looks like to delve into some of the topics and things that I've written about in the book and bring it to life in our own experience here in the community. So I'm going to give you one more second before I move off the page to scan that the QR code to make sure that you have an opportunity to do the survey. Leave the survey up through the end of the month of October, and then we'll take a look at the results again and see if there are some other things that are coming forward that should influence our direction. Thank you to everyone who's already participated in this survey. All right, so what do we do about what we've learned? So there's a couple of key things that we're going to shift as we go into, actually, as we start in our October challenge. So first and foremost, our healing challenges as they exist today, we launched them on Monday. We've been launching them live and doing a separate prestige session. About 2 months ago, we started to do the live healing challenge launch with the additional content, what I would call a brief masterclass where we go deeper into the topic that is surrounding the healing challenge. So that's kind of where we have been. We've done our midweek pump up. We've released the workbook on Monday afternoons. We've had our live events about 2 to 3 times a month. And looking at and weekly prayer and looking at all of these things together, what we've decided is that we are going to move forward in a way that we create less of the ongoing busy activity of the healing challenges to create more time for you to complete the challenges each month. So what you can expect is the model that we released several months back. I guess it was in late, probably March or April, where we really started to do a single theme challenge for the entire month. And then we had different weekly activities, challenges that you completed in order to complete the overall challenge. What this will look like in practice is that we have a theme for the month and all of the pieces of the challenge are shared at the same time. So imagine that, the focus is on, we can go back to last month and it's abundance. So all of the pieces of the challenge are there presented when we launch the challenge, and then you have the entire month to work through and navigate through the content. Now, I can't promise you that there won't be some impromptu things that we share, some learning, some experiences and things as we go through, because that is what we believe we have the opportunity to do to create it to be more engaging. But what we will do is have that message pre-recorded, the monthly challenge, the pre-recorded challenge message. So it's up there and ready to go whenever you're ready to see it at the beginning of the week. So it will still drop on Mondays. We are going to do some kind of notification, whether it is through the newsletter or an email update that comes out preparing you for the challenge to come and reminding you about the events that are coming up for that week. So you'll get to see that. We are going to structure the workbook to follow this monthly challenge focus instead of all of the weekly updates, that you can see all of what is comprised in the month so that you can work through the challenges at your own pace and still have the opportunity to engage in the content. And then completion of the challenge will be that you completed the challenge, completed the month's challenge. So as opposed to going through the modules each week and then being able to earn your badge, it really will be about you taking whatever we list as the survey questions at the end of the month and then completing it. So there's not a requirement for you to go through the week-to-week content. The other thing that we will do is continue to have our live events. What we know is that in addition to the challenge, based on what we've seen, is that our Ask Anika Anything live sessions are one of the coveted sessions that we have in the community. And so we're definitely going to keep that every single month. The other thing that we're going to be launching are some live sessions around Healing is Required. So I mentioned a moment ago about the book. We don't have a firm timing yet on when it is going to come out, still going through its publishing journey. But when we know, I promise you guys will be some of the first to know. But what we are going to do is pull some of the content from that and host some sessions where we talk about the different things that are different topics that are in the book. For example, one of the big things that I cannot wait to start sharing is about how we are connected, the way that our healing from one person to another is connected. There is a beautiful divine message that God gave me, a name of how we refer to the way our souls are connected. And it really helps for anyone who loves the fact that their relationship to the divine, to the creator, to God, that it keeps them connected to something that is greater than they, greater than them as an individual. This is that. So when we think about the impact that we make when we're healing, we often talk about like what it means for us, what it means for people who are in close proximity, what it means in our lineage, what it means in an immediate community. But truly, the revelation is that when we heal, everyone is impacted by that because we are all connected. And so there's a deep call to action there. And I'm really excited for this to be the place that we get to talk about it first. So we'll share things like that from the book, and that will be an opportunity for us to do that live and host master classes, and of course have you all notified, early enough in advance that you can make sure you set the time on your schedule so that you can be there in person and hear it first. And then, of course, we're going to continue to do weekly prayer live. And right now, as you know, we do the prayer live inside the Healing Crusade, and then we record them and store them in an area called the Well in the Remarkable Community. So anytime you ever want to go back to that content, it is there. So that is what you can expect for what the healing challenges look like. As we go through the months of October and November, love for you to give us feedback on, do you like the shifts? What things might you feel like you're missing? What things are you really enjoying about it? But allow us to hear your voice. The beautiful thing about how we run this community is we can pivot. We've done it. We did it all through last year as we learned and got feedback and experiences, and we will continue to do that. But we want to make sure that we're really meeting you at your place of need. So here are just some of the things that we're working on. I've kind of touched on many of these as we have gone through the other slides, but communication, ensuring that you all know when events are happening, what we are doing with them. We have sporadically shared the newsletter, and I believe that there is enough going on in the community for us to have the newsletter come weekly. They probably will be very light touch so that it is a 2 to 3 minute read for you, as opposed to putting a ton of stuff in there. But think of the newsletter delivered to you as an opportunity for you to just take a quick perusal of what's happening this week, check in on anything that you might have missed the week prior, a quick link to maybe a live session that you may not have been able to attend, it all there at your fingertips. And of course, as we go forward, we'll love for you guys to give us feedback on how that is working for you. What we're working on is growth. I think I've talked about it enough earlier in the presentation, but it does matter to us that we're growing in a way that honors that we keep our space safe, and that we're also bringing in more voices and experiences and ideas about what the healing journey can be. And so that you all have the opportunity to influence the people around you who you want to see on the journey. We're working on our workbook and sharpening the content. Again, keep the feedback coming about the areas of focus that you are most interested in your healing journey. Driving engagement. So how do we create more conversation between you and other members? And then lastly, accessibility, and making sure that you can get in, that you know when events are happening, and that you feel connected to how to navigate through our Mighty Networks community site. So here is what our asks are from you. First and foremost, we want you to stay connected. We know that you are busy. Oh, and I missed saying this, and it was probably the most important thing as I talked about the monthly challenges. One of the biggest things that I have heard one-on-one in conversations is, we're so busy. There's so much to do. And so I can't believe I missed saying this, because this was like, if there was one point in the whole presentation, it was this one, right? Our reflection on taking this up a level and delivering the content monthly is to help you to pace yourself, so that you're not missing the opportunity to do the healing work in the areas that you are most interested in. You know, you still own the decision on whether or not the healing challenge is something that really resonates and connects with you. But we want it to feel light enough that it doesn't feel like something else you have to do, but that you're choosing to. It's an invitation for you to take some time to see yourself. And what I believe to be true, because it has been my own experience, and I believe that others have had the same, is that throughout the last year, there definitely have been some challenges for me where I'm like, I did not get to every single day of everything that I wanted to, but I still healed. But I still experienced impact. I still grew. I still saw myself. And so I am quite frankly trying to help us all find the balance of how do we lean in to do the work that we know we desire to do in our healing, and at the same time honor that we have a lot of showing up in the world to do, to even see and experience the impact of our healing. So we know you're busy. And we believe that this will be a way that you can continue on your healing journey, and that we can support you in that, be your partner in that, without making it feel like there's a lot of things that you have to do. So that said, stay connected, because with our touch points shifting a bit, it should create more space and opportunity for you to feel like I can get to these things. And that's what I really desire for each of us. I want to encourage you to turn on your notifications. I talked about how to do that, and make sure that you subscribe to the event calendars. Another thing is to shape your healing, to really think about this journey as your own. One of the things that we've always talked about throughout the journey is that regardless of the area of focus, like if we're talking about abundance last month as an example, that challenge was awesome. Anybody who missed the affirmations, they're still there in the workbook. Please take a look at them. I think they were really, really, really powerful. But you can think about abundance in every area. So no matter what areas you picked out as most important for you on the wheel of life, you can apply abundance to all of those areas. So shape your healing. We might talk more about abundance connected to prosperity or connected to health, but if you know that personal relationships is most important to you, then keep applying the principles and the concepts that we share to that specific work. The other piece would be to have a healing target. So each quarter, we have the opportunity to really think about where we want to see the most progress. When is the last time that you looked at the wheel of life and what you designed back in week 4? We've talked about it in this past summer in one of our summer faves. But if you didn't get a chance to brush that off and take a look at it, it's probably a really good time. So where are the places in your healing journey that you want to impact and increase the most? And then how will you apply that as we go through the next months, the months up ahead, and the new challenges that we'll share with you? And then lastly, we want you to share your journey. One of the things that I think is so powerful that we've experienced are the moments where even when there are just a couple of us in a room together and we're talking about something and someone has an epiphany. Someone shares something and someone else is like, I know I've been going through that too. Like, we have these precious moments of getting to see the heart of one another and support each other on the healing journey. And what I know to be true is that you have people outside of this community who desperately need that healing too. They need to hear your stories. They need to know what you've been working on. They need to see why and what has been different for you. If you can ever think about a moment where you have witnessed somebody who kind of had a certain energy, and then all of a sudden you see them, maybe it's on social media or it's in a meeting or whatever, and you see a shift in their energy and you're like, what happened? Like, what's going on with them? And in the same way that you might desire to know, that's how people are looking at you as you go through your healing journey. Don't be afraid to share what it is that you are experiencing and exploring. I feel like we created this space as one where we wanted to really honor both the safety of the space and also the content that we share that we have curated and created for you. One of the shifts that I believe we are poised to make as we go through this year is to begin sharing more of that content outside. So holding still precious the content that we curate specifically for the community, but it's also time for us to encourage others to be on the healing journey that we've done through over the last year. And so more to come on the ways that we choose to do that. But one thing that you can do today is to begin sharing your story. So if you are on social media and you want to share that, in the Healing Crusade, we are working on a mindset of abundance. And one thing that really impacted you was this affirmation around abundance. Share it, talk about it. The opportunity for us to influence others to think about themselves in a different light is always present. And that is truly what we want. When we started this journey together, we talked about it being a movement, and a movement needs to move people. And we move people by first talking to their hearts. And when people can see and feel the impact you're having, that is what encourages them to want to do the same. So feel confident that you can share, that you can talk about what your experience in your journey is. And of course, we like social too. So we're happy for you to tag us in whatever, no problem with that. But share your journey, share your experience. Let people know how you are moving and growing and what you are healing so that you can be an inspiration to others. I consider that the best compliment that we can have, to see you grow and then to see you helping others do the same. That is huge for us. So that really rounds out what I wanted to share with all of you tonight. I'm going to close down the presentation. Of course, I want to give you one more minute to scan that QR code if you haven't, so that you can do the survey. And for those of you that haven't done it, do it before you leave the meeting tonight, before you turn off this recording. So that way we've captured your voice. And again, really grateful for everyone that has contributed and shared their insight. Before we close out for the evening, let me stop sharing and I come on to the screen. Before we close out for the evening, I just want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to my sisters, to the team. I feel like they're my partners in healing. I'm not going to say crime because we don't do that kind of stuff. But to Sis Safi, Sis Tasha, thank you both for your tireless efforts, for your ideas, for your rallying, for the behind the scenes pulling Anika left and right to make sure we do what we're supposed to do. I'm so grateful to have you both, and your wisdom, your insight, and your love for everyone here in the community as a part of this journey. So I just wanted to thank them and encourage you all to thank them as well. They are such an important part of what we do here, and I am incredibly grateful. So thank you. Oh, and let's see what's going on in the chat. Okay, I see Kita had to leave. It was great to see you, love. And we love having you on the journey with us. Pastor Tasha, Sis Tasha, my sister. What would I do without my right hand? So grateful, so grateful. All right, so I've been talking for 40 minutes straight, and y'all know I can go for another 44, but I won't. So I'm going to open up the floor. Any questions or feedback or thoughts that you have about how we shared tonight, how we're planning to shape our journey, anything on your minds?
Hi, everybody. I'm just excited about this sophomore year um, in the community, in the Healing Crusade. I know that it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to growth. I'm looking forward to further healing. And most of all, I will encourage everyone who hasn't taken the survey to please take the survey so that we can hear from you and that we can improve the community to meet everyone where they are, and we can, keep going up and up on this journey that we're on. So great job, everybody. Keep going.
Thank you so much, Tasha. Appreciate you. Anyone else? Thoughts, feedback? All right. So I will close out. Hi. So for everyone watching the replay, our sister Rena says, "Hey everybody." So I will close out with two things. I want to just reflect on, okay, I lied. I'm going to reflect on three things. If I think about the three things that were most meaningful to me on this journey over the last year, one would be starting the Healing Crusade in the way that it happened, how quickly we all responded to the rally, the recognition that our healing was important, the trust and faith that so many of you had in me to lead this journey. And what I did not know before the Healing Crusade, I had started writing. I was writing kind of like two books at the same time, my own story and this stuff that God just kept on giving me around healing. And I didn't really know what it was going to be. And finishing that book earlier this year in the summer, I was blown away by how much the Healing Crusade was influenced by what God was giving me, and how much the book was influenced by our journey in the Healing Crusade. And I knew clearly that healing was healing, so I could see a connection, but I did not understand all of what God had planned. And now that we are, in our sophomore year officially, one of the things that I see is that as we grow community around the book, we will be the place that people come to want to have more conversation around the concepts, to explore their healing journey. That is who we are poised to be. Should we continue to strengthen our ability to receive and help people develop in their healing journey? And I certainly intend to do that. I know the team is committed to doing that as well. But I feel so grateful that we already have a solid foundation. I think I was talking to Pastor Tasha and Sasapi, and I was like, we have 48 weeks, I think it was 48 at the time or something like that, weeks of content. Like, that we developed, that we could repurpose, that we could put together in ways where we create journey maps for people who are on very specific areas of healing focus. Like, we have some really good stuff. And as you all continue to give us feedback, we will know even more what lands, what works, what you need more of, what you need less of. So your voices are so important. But I'm so grateful that we've had the opportunity to build and to share and to test and to experience the things that have helped us to really grow. We have shifted quite a bit since we started, and I'm grateful for that too. Part of my healing has been embracing iteration. And people talk about pivots, and that pivots are okay. There's nothing wrong with a good pivot. But there's something about this word iteration that speaks to my soul. It's like an iteration says that where you started, the origin of it was good, and you're continuing to make it better. And that's what I believe we are doing here, that we are iterating. And so I have been on my own journey of iterating myself. And so it feels right that we are doing that iteration here. The last thing that I will say to you is that of all of the memorable moments, and there have been many, the healing capsule experience that we did, what was it, 2 weeks ago, Pastor Tasha? I think it was 2 weeks ago. By far one of my favorite moments in the crusade. For me, to have an opportunity to host and unveil myself in the way that I did in that day, to have a safe place to do that was incredible for me. The healing capsule is something that I have done before, and it is a big part of the work that I know I am to do in the year to come. But to be able to do it here in the safety of this community, and to allow myself to be seen and to pour, it was quite special. And what I want to ensure that I do for each of you is that you have that same feeling and experience in this community. Like the way that I was able to be all of who I am, I'm just going to say it, in my divinity in that session was really precious to feel safe and to be able to do it here. And I know every place will not feel like that, and I will still be called to be who I am. But that is something that I desire for all of you to experience and feel, that this is a place like when you are here that you feel like you are coming home and that you get to be all of who you are. I'm super clear about what the work is that I am supposed to do out in the world. I'm more clear than I have ever been. And I never want to miss the opportunity to ensure that you all feel that when you are here. In the same way that I create space, safe spaces and encourage other people to be all of who they are, I want us to have that. So if there's any part of what we are doing, what we've designed that has not made you feel that way yet, I want to know about it. If there are ways that we can create the space to help you do more of that, I want to know about it. Because I think everybody needs a place where they can be fully who they are. And when we do that and we get comfortable with who we are, it's so much easier to go out and do it in the world. So let this be a place where that is a part of your healing journey, to really see and be all of yourself. So yes, and Sis Afi put in the chat. So, and I think we have a continuous chat. So for those of you watching the replay, you should be able to click the link and do the survey. If you can't tell, we would like you to take the survey. And while we are like, clearly we've got good plans, we feel like we're cooking with gas now because we're sophomores, right? We made it through year one. We got stuffed in a couple lockers, but we're good. We're still here. But we still want to hear more voices. We still want to make sure that you are included. And quite honestly, we're blessed that we can do that. That in this time, in this moment, that we can get to everybody, that we can say like, hey, like pull more in. And maybe as we grow, that will be more of a feat. But in this moment, you have the opportunity to shape what this looks like, because we want your voice. We want to hear from you. So I wish you all peace and blessings. I thank you so very, very, very much for being on this journey with us. And I look forward to hearing your feedback as we hit the end of October and the end of November on those challenges. We look forward to reworking what the space looks like so that the chat takes more of an active and central role for us in the community. And of course, just love to see you sharing your story here in the community as well as outside. And with all of that, I wish you peace and blessings, and I will see you in the community. First October challenge comes out on Monday of next week, and we will see you there. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, y'all.